Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and very good morning, good afternoon to all the presenters, organizers of virtual international conference on education in the end of COVID-19. Due to some urgent commitments, I'm unable to interact synchronously with the wonderful audience of this conference. But I would like to share my thoughts and a very important topic related to what COVID-19 offered us, what we learned from that, what the pedagogues and educationists learned from COVID-19. Because at the end of COVID-19, as currently it's not completely eliminated. Still, we have the hazard or the indication that this spell can come again in future. But we must have to ready ourselves, we have to prepare ourselves. And I think that if we are talking about that what COVID offered us or what we learned from COVID, that most of us were previously ignoring such competencies which were related to the capacity building or in terms of learning some new skills for teaching and learning process, not just for the teachers, also students learn this part. Like they also develop such skills, they are needful. They also learn that how they can control themselves socially, emotionally, technically. So what we can say that if we talk about the education, because most of our system in most of the domains of education are re-engineered or engineered or realigned based on the needs of this current scenario or the current pandemic related issues. So if we align our curriculum, that what is required to cope up, or what is required to mitigate or minimize the issues and challenges which we faced during this COVID. So at the end of this COVID, like we must have different kind of pedagogical approaches. We must have to plan our teaching and learning accordingly. We have plan A and plan B. Like if this situation or such situation occurred in future, or if it come again, then how we can respond or address to it. So for example, if you're talking about the capacity building of the teachers, now we have to focus for it. Now most of our educational institutions around the world, those they were not that much for working on the technological part of training, those teachers, they are not technically sound, they are not technically skilled, and there are gray areas in their competencies to teach through the integration of technology or with the help of such tools and gadgets. So now the universities, educational institutions, school, colleges, they are offering these workshop and the capacity building skills to train and make the digital literacy will increase among the teachers. So that part is lacking previously, but most of the educational institutions and the settings in school, colleges, or university, they focus for it, and now they have a very strong mechanism for that. And actually, if we are talking about those teachers, they were previously facing problems and difficulties for the interaction through technology and teaching through that. Now they are much more satisfied. We also conducted one research study to assess that either the teachers, they are teaching social sciences subjects, what they have failed, what is their pre-performance and what is their post-performance after the integration of technology or after learning such skills and embed them in their curriculum, in their teaching and learning lesson plans and so on and so off. So now we have realized, and data also indicated that they are now much more satisfied, and they feel that they have improved the way of delivery with the integration of technology. Maybe if such pandemic will not come, so they cannot focus for those gray areas which are previously not addressed. But in this current situation, I think we are working on that. All the universities, colleges, and schools are focusing for that, and they are providing those skills to the teachers. They are teaching them that what are the digital models for teaching and learning, what are the frameworks to integrate, how the technology can be used in online teaching and learning. So another thing that we must have to focus for it, that we have to focus to deliver with two different modes. Like we also have some part of our, like what we have in a flipped classroom mechanism and approach. Like we integrate some kind of face-to-face interaction in our plan and our lesson, and we also have like online interaction with face-to-face, and that is to minimize the interaction between teacher and students. So that can be one of the approach which we can use in upcoming days. Previously that was already the people were integrating that, but mostly in the distance learning programs and such programs where it was required. But now, for example, if we are teaching engineering students, and if we had such pandemic situation after that, so we must have our e-modules available in which we can teach our students what are the experiential part which we can demonstrate them. We can invite them to the colleges, universities and schools, and they can like the demonstration will be in the videos, in the recorded videos. We can share with them as asynchronous learning material, and teacher can interact with them synchronously and teach them that the theoretical part, and later on they can ask them to come to the institution and they can perform those tasks in a small groups. Because like what we had experienced, that those teachers or those courses or subjects, they were related to social sciences. So the students or the teachers were comfortable in that content which was just a lecture based, but those teachers and students suffered a lot where there is a calculation, where there is a experimental part, like a science student, engineering students. So in that particular area, that was a gray area on that time. But now several universities around the world, they are working on that. They are developing or designing the virtual laboratories. They are working to help the students or the teachers to through augmented reality or virtual reality, they can learn the experimental part, the experiential part. There is not the same learning, because what we can learn through performing it by through kinesthetic approach, but in this way we can say that at least we have a learning on the scale of 70%, not 100%, but we must have such approaches, such way of we can say what uh, pedagogical framework for experiential learning for science, engineering and such mathematics as well. So now we need to focus for this, and I think that is a good thing, because if COVID offered us challenges, similarly COVID also offered us some opportunities to look those areas, the gray areas where we have to focus for our self development or for development of our competencies towards digital literacy and other skills. So another thing, like what there is a word social distancing. I think the social distancing should be replaced with a physical distancing, because we are socially connected, and I think that's good that the social media, through such webinars, through such platforms which social media provide us, we are interacting with each other. That is one of the good way. We are not socially distant, we are physically distant, and this is important for us, for the safety and health of our students and for the teachers as well. We have to maintain that and come up with those pedagogical approaches, come up with those we can say the models of teaching and learning which can help us to minimize this interaction. So now we have to realize that while teaching, we must have a plan A and plan B in our mind, and that is previously because it was a sudden shift, sudden transmission, so we were not that much ready. But now I think our content is, most of our content is now digitally aligned. We can move towards digital platforms easily, because we already had experience of 4 to 5 months back when we had to teach online to our students. But now the things are much more smoother than the previous time. So if this in the post COVID, after this COVID-19, or like if it's stay for a long, so we must have to adapt or to develop such pedagogical strategies in which we can teach our students. So for the professional development part of the teachers, I think Previously they were not much focusing towards it, but now they are focusing for it. There is other issues of social economical issues, which is one of the major issue. Not disturbed, we teachers are disturbed, the teaching and learning communities are disturbed, also the industrial workforce and the daily wages and such social issues as well. So there was one other thing that I would like to share, that for example, that the parents, for the sake of the safety of their children's, so they had this you can say the approach that they can teach them in the at the home, especially for toddlers and the early childhood learners, like students. So in that way, but what are the social skills, what how we can teach them the effective domains in terms of interaction with social interaction? Because if the student of the if the child is like studied at home but not interacting due to some physical distancing, social distancing, so in that way how he will learn such social skills as well? They are also very important. So in that way, teachers can have such like lectures, or integrate some elements in their lecture plan, in their class, like what they have designed in their CLOs. So they also must have a one objective related to digitally targeting as through the lens of sociologist. Like they can teach them such learning domains, like affective domain, in which they can work on that character development, to providing them the moral or the social values, teach them or integrate that part. So I think that is one of the very important area which we need to address. And our children or our students will not learn social skills if we just give them like focusing for their online learning, and they will stay at the home. So we also have to work on that. So I think these are such things that in education, after the end of this, because most of the curriculums are re-engineered, realigned, upscale, as per the need, as per the requirements, where the technology was previously not integrated, but now the content and courses aligned accordingly. So in that way, we have to still working on the capacity building and competency building among our students and teachers. And we also need to add some value added elements in our curriculum, in our contents, which is related to affective domain, to develop social skills among students, social skills among all the learning communities. So that can through online approach, through online teaching and learning, they also have like those capacities, so they can address to it. So that is the major element which I would like to share at my you can say that based on my knowledge and experience and the study which we have conducted. So there is a lack in these areas. So that's all from my side. I would just like to interact with you guys, and all the best and congratulations to all presenters. Thank you very much to the organizers for inviting me. If you have any question, you can ask me through the YouTube link, or you can ask or share with the organizers, and we can later on interact and I will answer. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.